Hello and welcome to another Stamp with Amy K Facebook Live video. And I'm glad to be back and live with you again, unlike I was this past weekend where I actually had to pre-record to make sure that you guys were able to see my video because, well, I was out of town and I didn't necessarily want to have to take everything with me. I was a little worried that I might have to, I thought about trying to do it, but I was afraid that it was going to be a total disaster, and the Wi-Fi in the hotel is always a little unpredictable. So one of those things that I thought about for a minute, but I'm glad to be back live again. So, hey, Nancy and Karen, thanks so much for hopping in today. I appreciate it. Today I have something fun to show you. Stampin' Up! Has come out with a new, will be coming out with, I should say, a new set of stamps and dies and some designer paper. So yay. Hey Jen, thanks for hopping in. And Mary, hello, how are you? So this is the card we're going to be making today, and it actually features the Curvy Christmas stamp set, which is one of the new stamp sets I'll be talking about in just a minute. It also uses the Curvy Dies and a couple of other dies here too. So let's go ahead and get started with the good stuff. Yay. Hi, Bree and Catherine, and let's see who else is here. Your bundle got there about 10 minutes ago. Good, good, good. All right, and Marilyn is here as well, and Christy, so yay. All right, so we have got some new goodies coming from Stampin' Up! This will be available for customers to order beginning on November 3rd, and the Christmas-specific items are only going to be available through January 4th. However, this awesome bundle is actually in the next mini catalog, so it's going to be available now as well as through the mini catalog. So this is like a super early sneak peek that everybody's getting from the mini catalog, so yay. So let's talk for a minute about that. Hey, Lori and Beth, thanks for hopping in, and Barbara. So glad that you enjoyed the videos over the weekend. So the first stamp set is the Curvy Christmas stamp set, and it's photopolymer, and it's really cute. Love the little sentiments on it, love the little curvy lines and things in it. It coordinates with the little curvy dies that are in here. So a couple of these, you could put this border die under it, this border die under it. I used the little branch die in here for my card today. The rest of these dies, the birds and the floral ones, are pretty specific to the quite curvy stamp set, which is one of the new ones as well. So the Christmas stamp set, again, is called Curvy Christmas, and it's only going to be available from November 4th. I'm sorry if I said the 3rd earlier. November 4th until January 4th. And they have some coordinating designer series paper that goes with it. So it's 6x6 paper. It's a pack of 48 sheets. The colors are Cherry Cobbler, Shaded Spruce, Sahara Sand, and Whisper White in it. So hey, Jeanette and Lois, I'm glad that you're here as well. So I'm just going to run through the papers really quickly so you know what they are. So it's got stars on one side. The other side's got kind of the greenery branches, whatever you want to call it. We've got some diagonal stripes. On the other side, it's a plaid look. I don't know if it's technically plaid or if it's just, I don't know. It's not, I guess it's probably not plaid. Checked maybe would be a better word for it. So we've got another kind of neutral design. Some of these would be really good for Valentine cards as well. The back side of it's got little pine trees on it, which is really cute. Hi, Patricia. Glad you're here today. This one's got some holly images on it. And then the back side is polka dots, which, again, would be great for Christmas through Valentine's Day, so lots of good uses for that one. And then it's basically the same designs in Sahara Sand. So we've got the holly on one side, the polka dots on the other, the branches and the stars. Then we got the trees and the little crosses. And then it's a really good pack of paper, Mary, I agree. So, and then the little plaid look and stripes. Again, this is Sahara Sand. And then we've got it in Shaded Spruce. Again, it's the same designs, and it's 4 sheets of each design in the pack. So it's a good pack of paper, lots of things to use. So lots of good designs in here, again, Christmas designs. And then some of them, again, could be used for a little more general cards and throughout the rest of the year. So that is the Classic Christmas 6x6 Designer Series paper. And again, it will be available starting on November 3rd and not the 4th. I'm sorry. I keep saying the wrong dates. I should look at the flyer. It's right next to me. So it is November 3rd through January 4th. All of this stuff will be available for customers. So again, we've got the Curvy Christmas stamp set, that pack of Designer Series paper, and then the Quite Curvy stamp set, which again is a photopolymer one. I got some good little sentiments in it, some cute little birds. The dies cut out the leafy image here, the floral image here, and all of the little birds, as well as this little floral image down here. So good sentiments. Love that it's got dies that coordinate with it. And then here are some border dies that go with it as well. So great set. Again, this one is going to be carrying forward into the January to June 2021 mini catalog. So this one is going to be available for a little bit longer, but we're getting our hands on it early, which is always exciting. And then the Christmas stamp set and designer series paper are only available starting on November 3rd through January 4th. So just keep that in mind as you go through and think about what you're going to be ordering. Just kind of bear in mind that some of the things will not be carrying forward. So you may want to get them a little bit earlier rather than later. Pricing wise, there's a little flyer that goes with it, and I'll be posting it on my blog tomorrow. It's got some pretty sample cards on it. And again, my blog is stampwithamyk.com if you don't follow along. Then we got the Quite Curvy stamp set, which is $17, and the Curvy Dies, which are $29. Or you can get them in a bundle together for $41.25. And then we've got the Curvy Christmas stamp set for $21 and the designer series paper pack, which again is the 6x6 for 48 sheets for $11.50. And then there's also the variety bundle, which is basically everything all together, and it's $70.50. So it's the whole thing, all of the stuff that you see here. So both stamp sets, the dies and the paper for $70.50. So just so you know, again, it's coming starting on November 3rd. So yay, I'm excited about that. And of course, because it's new, I can't not play with it. So hey, Rosie, thanks for joining. And Kiko and Catherine, I see y'all are here as well. A couple other things that I used on this card. I used a couple of the dies from the Tasteful Labels dies. I used this banner die and this banner die, and just used them for the little banners up here in the corner. I used one of the stitched star dies, and I actually used the third largest one, which is this one, to cut out my die, or cut out my star in the middle of it. And as I was writing up my blog post for tomorrow, I realized I got a little carried away on the dies with this card, as always. I used one of the stitched shapes, the oval, the smallest oval, for the sentiment. And then I used one of the stitched rectangle dies, which was the second largest one, to cut out the Whisper White panel here. So I used, like I said, a few dies when I when I was making my card, and didn't really realize how many until I went to do the write-up, and I'm like, oh, yeah, there was kind of a lot of dies. So one other thing before we get rolling, I just wanted to remind you, Stampin' Up! Has currently got their Designer Series paper sale going on. It's 15% off 15 select packs of Designer Series paper. The details are all out on my blog, and you can also find it in my online store. So go take a look if you have an interest in any of these. There's some really good paper packs, and I love that they've actually got some from the mini catalog. So there are Christmas and holiday papers in there, so yay. And a couple more here, so they're more on the back of the flyer, or the second page of the flyer. So again, and this one, of course, you all know that I love that one, the In Good Taste Designer Series paper pack. If you don't have that one, definitely pick it up this month. It's an awesome deal. So, okay, let me know if you have questions on that. Let us get rolling on the card, so I don't spend your whole Tuesday afternoon sitting here watching me carry on. So, all right, I have got Shaded Spruce card base. I've got gunk all over my fingernails already. Shaded Spruce card base cut to 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. And I have got a piece of the new Classic Christmas 6x6 Designer Series paper that I've cut down to 4 1/4 by 5.5. And I'm just going to glue it directly to the card front with some multi-purpose liquid glue. And all of the details and the cardstock cuts and everything will be out on my blog tomorrow, which again is stampwithamyk.com. So you can go check it out tomorrow. Otherwise, when the blog post goes live, I will definitely share a link to it in the text part for this video, so you can go and find it starting on Wednesday on Facebook and on YouTube as well. But all right, so we've got that glued together. Next thing that I did is I went ahead and again pre-cut this, but I used it's Whisper White cardstock, and it is the second largest of this stitched shapes dies. And just cut a piece of Whisper White cardstock with it so that I could start stamping. Originally, when I designed this, I was going to try to do the stamping first and then cut around it, and then I realized I would have no idea where on the paper I should be stamping things in order to get it to fit the way that I wanted it to. So that's the reason why I started with die cutting it first. Normally I die cut second, but in this instance it works a little better to die cut it first. So this is a sentiment from the Curvy Christmas stamp set, which again will be available starting on November 3rd. And then I'm using Cherry Cobbler cardstock and just going to ink up my sentiment, hopefully very well. And I'm going to stamp it so that it's sort of somewhat centered on the card front, or on the panel here, and down towards the bottom. All right, so we got that on there. Next up, we're going to do a little shaded spruce with the tree line image, and it's kind of hanging off the edge. And in this instance, it really doesn't matter. I would rearrange it, but I don't know, I just got busy. Or put it on a bigger block. There's that big giant block that you could put it on. But in this instance, it doesn't really matter because I'm not going to be stamping the whole image across the card front anyway. So I figured it was okay to leave it sort of hanging off the edge. Again, shaded spruce ink, and I'm just going to stamp the pine tree image right up above my sentiment. And again, hopefully try to get it so that it's somewhat even across the card front. And the pine trees, I will say, sort of lean a little. I don't know if you noticed that, but even on the stamp set, the front the case of it, they kind of lean a little. So I didn't feel quite as bad. They leaned a little, and I'm like, oh, well, that's, you know, but I think that's the way they're supposed to go so that you can a little bit easier get them put onto card fronts and not have to worry so much about things being perfectly straight. So I've got Sahara Sand ink for the next one, and I'm going to stamp the star image in Sahara Sand ink across the top of the card. And I wanted kind of the opposite effect on it than I did the other one, so I wanted it to look kind of rounded, if that makes sense, because I was going to put the star in the middle, so I wanted it to bend the opposite way, I guess would be a good way to say it. And all right, the wind must be blowing. Uh-oh. Was something going on with your internet, Karen? I don't know. It's not blowing terribly here. Hopefully there's not flickering something or something weird going on my side. If there is, let me know, and I'll see if I can fix whatever's going on. So, all right. So we got that done. Next up, I've got a piece of Cherry Cobbler cardstock, and I have got it cut to 4 7/8 by 3 1/2. And going to do a little bit of Stampin' Seal on the back of the die cut. So there we go. We're just going to adhere the two pieces together and then right to the card front. Oh, the trees are leaning. Okay. Yeah, duh. Okay, I totally missed it. That went right over my head. Yes, yes. That's what we'll call it. Yes, the wind is blowing, and that's why they're leaning, not because I stamped them all sorts of crazy. So, sorry. Yikes. All right. So, going to add a little bit of Stampin' Seal to the back of the layer, and then I'm going to bring over my card front and attempt to get it lined up fairly straight and fairly even. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect, but try to get it as close to straight and even as I can. And then I went ahead again and pre-cut some of these pieces for you, so you didn't have to sit here while I was die cutting. But I've got this one I cut out of the Sahara Sand Classic Christmas designer paper, and then this is the Cherry Cobbler. And I cut these with the Tasteful Labels dies, and then I just took my scissors, and this is the only kind of fussy cutting that I can do, and I can't even do it very well. It just snipped straight across. Hopefully, I always kind of have to hold my breath and hope that it's straight across the top of the die cut here, and then I'm just going to layer them together on the card front. So, all right. And just over here to the one side, and try it again to get it fairly straight and up towards the top of the card. Use a little Stampin' Seal to adhere this one, the little banner, on over the top. And just a little bit offset from the other one. So that's all there is to it. Okay. Next up, again, I did some pre-cutting, so you didn't have to sit and watch me cut 4 of these out because it's not exactly exciting material. But again, these are cut from Shaded Spruce cardstock with the Curvy Dies, which is one of them that is in the new or upcoming die set that'll be available on the 3rd of November. And then I actually again, my kind of fussy cutting, I snipped the ends off because they were a little bit longer than what they needed to be hidden underneath my star that I'm going to be putting on here. So I snipped the ends off and then just took a little glue dot and sort of stuck them so that they were fairly centered again, and stuck them to the card front. I put 2 up and 2 of them down on the card front. Whoops, dropped one there. So hopefully y'all are having a good Tuesday. Kind of same old here. Thank goodness the kids are still in school and all is going well, and glad about that. Hopefully everybody's doing well in your area as well. So been kind of a crazy school year and crazy year so far, but hopefully things will be settling down soon. Yes, demonstrators can order this right now, Catherine. So this is a new bundle. So go take a peek at the demonstrator website and you'll see the information all posted out there as well. But yep, so demonstrators can order it now and customers will be able to order it beginning on the 3rd of November. So now I'm going to take a couple of my little snipped up Stampin' Dimensionals, or you can use the mini ones, whichever ones you prefer. And I'm going to stick a couple of them on the back of my star, which I have... wow, you're preparing for a hurricane? Oh, goodness. Yikes. So, yep, I will show the stamp set again in just a second. Let me get the star stuck on. So again, I pre-cut this with one of the stitched star dies, and this is cut from brushed metallic cardstock. And I use the kind of, I don't know how to describe the colors in that pack very well. I'm not very good at it. So it's the lightest of the one that appears lightest to me when I look at them in the pack. So hang on a second, let me pull out the stamp set. And so it is the Curvy Christmas stamp set. So this is the one that is coming on November 3rd. So this is the one I'm using today. So it's got good sentiments, some fun images in it, and it coordinates with the Curvy Dies, which will also be available on November 3rd. And then there will also be a Quite Curvy stamp set. The Quite Curvy stamp set and the Curvy Dies actually will be carrying forward into the mini catalog, so those will be around for a little bit longer, but we get our hands on them early. And then there's a pack of coordinating designer series paper called Classic Christmas. So 6x6 designer paper is cherry cobbler, Sahara sand, and shaded spruce for the colors on it. And that's what the opposite side looks like. So it's definitely some good stuff. So again, be on the lookout for the details coming soon to show you, or so that you can get your hands on that awesome new bundle, stamp set, and designer series paper. All right, for the sentiment, I used, again, the Curvy Christmas stamp set. This is the one called Merry Christmas. And it is a good pack of paper. I agree. It's awesome. So, and we're going to do a little heat embossing. So this is Versamark ink. And I'm stamping it on cherry cobbler cardstock. And then I'm going to close that up before I spill something everywhere. I've got white Stampin' Emboss powder that I'm going to use for heat embossing. Hey, Nancy, thanks for joining today. So let's do a little, make sure we get most of the extra flecks off of there. And maybe a little bit more, make sure we've got that covered well. And I'm going to turn on the heat tool. So the Stampin' Up! Heat tool, if you've seen my videos before, you know that it's got 2 different settings on it. The level 1 is for drying ink and the level 2 is for heat embossing. I flipped it over to the level 2 since we are going to be heat embossing today. I'm just giving it a second to heat up. And then we're going to put it here on the image that I've just stamped and added the embossing powder to, and give it a second to melt the embossing powder. All right. So I think we've done that pretty well. Okay, and then I'm going to give this a second just to kind of let it cool off a little bit so that I don't smear it, because you can definitely do that when you, if you touch it too quickly afterwards, it's still a little bit wet. So I used, to cut out the sentiment, one of the oval dies from the Stitched Shapes dies, and it's just the smallest of the little ovals. Does that make sense? Smallest of the oval dies. I'm just going to run it through my die cutting machine here quickly, which is off to the side, so that I don't wiggle you and make you seasick as I'm doing this. Because I know on the video it's kind of, die cutting machine doesn't do very well on my table. Apparently I need a stronger, sturdier table or something, I don't know. But the new new Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. Cuts really smoothly, but it still wiggles the table around enough that I feel like it makes you seasick if you are watching it, and I put that on the top. So, all right, so we've got our little die cut sentiment here. And all I'm going to do is take a couple of glue dots and adhere it to the card front, and we will be all done with the front of the card. There we go. And I'm sticking it right over the top of the star and hopefully getting it straight. All right, so that is all done. The inside of the card, I did a little stamping with the sentiment in cherry cobbler ink. And again, this is a sentiment from the Curvy Christmas stamp set. And Whisper White cardstock is cut to 4 by 5 1/4. And I'm going to put it on here. The one nice thing about this being a curvy little image is that you don't have to worry about getting it straight. So yay about that. So, all right, so we've got that stamped in cherry cobbler ink. And then I'm going to use a little Stampin' Seal, and we're going to adhere a piece of the Classic Christmas Designer Series paper to the bottom of it. This is just something that I had trimmed off from the piece that I cut for the card front. This one I cut to 5/8 inch by 5 1/4, so that should fit. Well, actually this is 6, and I'm just going to trim it down to 5 1/4. Thanks so much. I appreciate that. I'm glad you're liking the card. It's, like I said, it's a fun little stamp set, and I like the dies a lot, and I like the new stamp set as well. I like the little birds in it, so definitely a good one. And I love that we get it a little early, so that's always something fun. Have to look forward to playing with some new goodies for spring once we get tired of making all of our Christmas cards, because you know we will. At least I do. I get tired of making them about the middle of November. I kind of just look at them and go, okay, I'm just ready to be done with these. So, all right, so that is the inside of the card. Tried to keep it pretty simple in there as well. And then I'm going to do a little crease with the bone folder over the top here. And that is it for my card share today. So hopefully you liked it. Hopefully you like what you see in the new products. Again, these will all be available. They're currently available for demonstrators to pre-order, and they will be available for customers to order beginning on November 3rd. And the Christmas items, remember, will only be available through January 4th. The other die, the other die set, the Curvy Dies and the Quite Curvy stamp set will be available through the next mini catalog. So let me know if you have any questions. I appreciate y'all being here today. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Hopefully you're having a fantastic Tuesday. And I will chat with y'all very soon. I'll plan to be live on Friday on my YouTube channel, and plan to be back here live on Facebook next week, Tuesday. Both plan to be live at 2 o'clock Eastern Time. So I will chat with y'all soon. Thanks so much.